right? So what is being raised in these interactions in that moment with this person that's triggering me? One of them is going to be my egoic beliefs about myself, because no one can minimize us or dim our light or tell us anything that we know is untrue about ourselves and it have any effect on us. So it's going to expose to us our disowned parts, the sense of lack of self-love within us, and so that's a beautiful reflection. And as I said, once we're healed, people can throw all sorts of stuff your way, but that is not true. That is an untrue thing. And so we are going to only ever allow in what we believe to be true, or some parts of our insecurity or our ego is still has not returned to love, to self-love. So once we do that healing and we return to self-love and self-compassion, we are Teflon coated. That shit just slides straight off us, right? So one of my friends, Marissa Peer, has this saying that we have to learn in life to keep criticism out and allow praise in. And I think that is a really good thing, right? We can receive praise because that's the other side of this. If people compliment us or praise us, one of the reactions often of the ego of somebody that doesn't love themselves is to push that praise out, or minimize it. And I was really good at that for a long time until I learned about this a long time ago now. And it was really uncomfortable to receive compliments. Somebody would say something, "Oh, I really like that dress you're wearing," and say, "Oh, this old thing," or, "Oh, it was a hand-me-down," or, "I got it, it was on sale." Had to kind of just deflect from just sitting in the allowance of receiving. When somebody makes you a compliment or says something nice, it's actually the most loving thing to do, is to receive the gift that they're giving you in those moments. But then again, the other side of that is criticism. When people criticize you, where do you let it sit? I had a really interesting situation this morning because Deborah Madden, who works for us, manages my social media posts. And I have purposely set up a kind of a system where she's literally like my spiritual warrior. We always joke that she's kind of standing there as a sword of protection. And because, in social media, I think people have a few wines, they lose their plot, they get in there when they're drunk, or they get in there when they're in their pain bodies. And some people can be quite horrible. There was this really hilarious comment that came up on one of my posts yesterday. And, you're never going to put yourself out there in life if you're worried or concerned about what other people think of you, right? So it was an interesting test, because I thought, what a thing to wake up to this morning. But we just laugh about it, because no matter what we do in life, not everyone's going to love us. Not everyone's going to like us. Not everyone's going to resonate with us. And we actually need to be okay with that. That's self-love. That's self-compassion. We're not here to... If we go out into the world and constantly have this need to be liked or need to be loved, and we're coming from that place that we have this, it's an insatiable part of the ego that's really coming from an inauthentic place, these needs, right? I need to be good. I need to do things to cheer people up. I need to be the funny person. I need to constantly be that person, right? So that I'm getting this reaction from them, and that's going to somehow make me feel good about myself. But anything that's coming from the ego is never satiated. It's never enough. So we can spend our whole lives consumed by people pleasing, or we can actually do our own healing, which is actually, how do I feel about myself deep within? What is true for me? And that's really what the ultimate healing journey is, because the outer world will reflect that. It will reflect your experience of the world. So every part of that external world is mirroring something to you. Where am I feeling uncomfortable in this moment? What is arising from this situation? Oh, where's that coming from? Okay, there's some incorrect thinking there about myself. So as we start kind of utilizing this mirror system as a feedback for where our ego is and where our egoic mind is, we can then start challenging our thoughts, challenging our beliefs, because all pain and suffering that we experience only comes from a place of ego. It comes from a place of incorrect thinking. It comes from being out of alignment with the one true thing in this universe, which is love. There is love and there is fear. So we need to make a decision. Where do we want to hang out? Where do we want to, what do we want to be feeling? Don't we want to experience joy and inner peace and bliss and harmony with the world around us? You know, what's the alternative? To constantly live in struggle, to live in pain, to live with, things that will never really truly be healed. So sometimes I think we focus on the problem as though the problem is the issue, but it's bigger than that. So we have to step back out and go, okay, this is really showing me where I'm not loving myself, where I'm not in loving relationship with life. So, I know that, this big belief of the ego, what other people think of us, is a huge one, particularly for generations of women, particularly women in their 60s. I've seen this as a big one because we were raised, particularly in the 60s, women in their 60s now, and late 50s, 60s and 70s, we're really raised with this whole good girl, you have to be good, you have to behave. And so we're taught to shut down who we are as a child. We're taught to not create healthy boundaries. We're taught to shut down our intuition. This doesn't feel safe, but we have to, behave in certain ways anyway to make people feel good. So we're taught very young to compromise our own selves, our own way of being, in order to fit in and be approved and to obtain love. So as we kind of start peeling back those layers and go, well, okay, so I've spent the last 50 or 60 years running this gamut of false beliefs that I am not allowed to honor my intuition, I'm not allowed to honor myself in authentic ways. Then we can start recognizing how that's played out, and then we can start reclaiming ourselves, reclaim who you truly are, reclaim that level of self-love, that level of confidence, that level of your right to be here, that level of your right to follow your intuition, your inner guidance system. And because they're all valid. So seeing the mirror as an opportunity to recognize where our false beliefs are about ourselves is very important. And then the other aspect to the mirror is, what is it about this person that's triggering me that I'm exactly the same? Or they're showing my disowned parts where I'm actually, other people would see me the same way. So, we had two really good examples of that yesterday. Julie came on first and mentioned that she recognized, her sister's behavior and how she's been irritated by that, but then her sister would see her the same way. So that's that second part. And then somebody else came on and said, about the sister-in-law, her sister, another sisters. Oh, oh, I love it. So, and then the other sister was, kind of the opposite, was really displaying traits that weren't true and being forceful and opinionated. So again, that was this other reflection. Why aren't I feeling whole and complete in my own space to be able to let that shit slide straight off me? So the mirror is a really, really useful one in our daily interactions. And it's also a fun one to play with, because then we start recognizing, hey, this is really life school, right? We can start reflecting on all of our relationships, what they're there to reflect, what they're there to teach us. And it brings us back to, one of my beliefs that we're all each other's guides, walking each other home. We're all on this journey to evolve ourselves and return to love. So that's an amazing thing.